is this game like full, uninhibited, just my fantasies? What have you left out? Be honest, be honest. It was the giant. Thank you so much for all of your questions on Twitter, Patreon, and Discord. I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability with the help of our all-knowing developers.
Hey, I'm Duple, and I'm the resident writer. I'm in charge of the dialogue and storyline writing, creating the scenes and everything. That's pretty much it. Just everything writing.
Hi, I'm Chris Mishi, the artist. Mostly of the stuff that I do is just work on the, modeling the characters or the clothing on the props that they have. And I don't know, I just try to make them look cute and sexy so you can show them for your experiment.
Hello, I am Projekt, the music composer and sound designer. So basically, I am the audio director for the melody game A Note Between Words. I'm currently working on the music, the sound design, and the sound implementation of the game. I used to work in a company named AXE Games, so I have a little bit of knowledge about all the engine and stuff. And I really hope you will enjoy the music that is going to be provided with the game.
Hi, I'm Project Melody. I'm the subject of the game. I started VTubing almost 2 years ago. I'm the first hentai AI VTuber on a porn site, specifically Chatterbait. Since then, I've branched out, but these guys, over time, all reached out to me and we started working on this game together because we all are a big fan of porn games, and they, for some reason, wanted me involved. So it's been a wild ride, and I'm really excited for us to finally bring the game to the community.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm the director of Hentai VR and the working on the experiences for the game, for the sexing of things. So my role for this project is that I'm an experience designer. So obviously I've had quite a lot of many years experience working in 3D porn. And so I'm bringing to the table the design for that in the game and integrating that with the story experience.
Hi, I'm a Helltaker and I like panties.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Helltaker and I'm project lead and manager of this production.
Like he just sort of wandered onto the set. I don't know how he got here.
I've been around for around 2.5 years in game development. I've been employed at studios. I've been working as a freelancer for different games out there. I have to say, this is my first NSFW experience, and I really enjoy it.
Okay. I don't know about you, but I've got some questions. Would you guys mind if I asked you them?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Okay. Well, then here's my first question. Here it is. Will there be a deep story, or is the main goal overall just to be centered around the coitus scenes?
So, obviously there's going to be plenty of sex, but, we want to create a fun and engaging experience along the way. To keep people entertained. This is a Projekt Melody Day game, so there's going to be some major thoughts into the plot to make it nice and fun and wacky and interesting. But obviously, that's only going to be in between all the amazing AAA sex.
Yeah, one of the things that we really wanted to achieve with this is we wanted to create more. There's a lot of porn games out there, so a lot of high quality porn games. So this is something that we wanted to really try hard on to tell a good story that makes you feel like you want to fall in love with the characters, as well as create a really great sex experience as well. So it's just as important to have both in this. So we really want to have something memorable for you.
There's a lot of simulation games out there that allow you to engage in very detailed simulation and simulated sex and all of that. And I think we have a really nice, unique selling point on generally just saying, hey, we go very specifically into scenes with this idea that the scene evolves out of the actual dialogue interaction that you have with the character before you actually engage with them in a sexual encounter. So it's not just basically you getting pushed into a sandbox and then basically just playing with a virtual body, but in first you basically have an actual interaction with that character before you engage with them in a more lewd manner. Yeah.
Definitely, and in terms of deep, I mean, this story's been in development for more than a year already. So we're certainly really taken our time to think about it and try and make it a good one.
Do you have to be a fan of moi to even understand this game? Can anyone play this game? Or is it just like, what's going on?
I think, like, to tell a good story, it's really important that we make this game for everyone, and certainly like a blank slate in a way, so that during the prologue we'll introduce everything so it makes sense for a new person for the game, as well as everyone who's a long-time fan can like point and see references that will make them laugh and things like that. So it's for everyone that is over 18.
Obviously, it is. Yeah.
Everyone here right now should be over 18 as well. If you're not, you should leave immediately. Please.
Okay, fine. I'm coming.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
The whole team is
Everyone
under 18.
did.
All right, no more game. That's it.
Pack it up, boys. So anyone can be a fan of the game. Awesome. Then I guess my next question is there any information you have about the story that you can share with us?
Yeah, so basically the story revolves around the protagonist and Melody, and the protagonist gets sucked into this brand new virtual world and meets this entity that tells him that he needs to save this world from like a digital disaster. And he gets dropped down into the world, meets Melody, and learns about the virus outbreak that could wipe out or take over the whole place. And he goes on these adventures with Melody through different areas, like there's maid cafes, there's pirate-infested oceans, and just saves the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, then, I guess if we're traveling all over this universe, all of these fantasy worlds, how many hours will the story actually encompass?
So the main storyline will be timed in around 5 to 8 hours of playtime, but every character has their own dating timeline added on top of that. We are designing the game around a high level of replayability, so you can basically expect to go back into the game after playthrough, and just for completion, basically completionists, you can just like replay it and make different decisions in the day timelines, for example, date different girls, date them in a different way, for example, too, and just like enjoy the game all over again.
Thank you, thank you. Now, I don't know about you, but it doesn't have to be spring for me to appreciate Easter. I am a big fan of Easter eggs, so I'm curious. As a meme lord, will there be any T-posing model of me hidden somewhere in there? And if there is, could I get it as an achievement? And if so, how could I find it?
Well, I mean, you would have to play the game to find that out.
Hey.
Who else are you guys thinking of including in this game besides what we saw in the trailer? I assume Godzilla. It's Godzilla, right?
Yeah, I mean, without spoiling too much, we do have a variety of characters, from cat girls to demon girls to special agent ops girls, and of course a sexy scientist. You have to have that in this game. And certainly other characters as well. So we'll announce those as we come to it. Don't want to spoil it all now, but certainly a variety.
Intriguing. I'm curious, but we're gonna have all types of characters. Will we also have fetishes?
Yeah, I think we want to make it as broad as we can, so we can kind of like appease everyone. But it's like to name some of there's a few to name that were already planned. So obviously this game is quite a harem-based game, so there's multiple waifus. So that's obviously one. We got vanilla, anal, some BDSM, futanari, girlfriend experience, monster girls, everything from like slime girls to oni and cowgirls, and feet, of course, for those out there. What else we've got? Different body types as well. So like we want to like kind of get a range. So like everything from like thin to quite to thick to like bodybuilder, sporty type girls as well. So certainly different types of body sizes and everything as well. So we can kind of just get that range for everyone. And there'll be more as well on that, and we'll keep looking at that. But that's just some of the few that we've already got planned.
I don't know about you, but I often have dreams of being crushed by giant thighs. Will there be any giants as well?
I'd say there is some giant lady characters.
I'm curious now. will we be able to side with if they want malware, or maybe like a Melody malware system similar to like the Paragon Renegade system in Mass Effect? What do you guys think?
So the Paragon Renegade system in Mass Effect, that's a system where if you be a dick, then your meter goes down and people see you as more of a bad person. If you be a good boy, then people kind of like see you more nicely. That's just to explain what that system is to help answer this question. So our game's a bit different to that, and if you would like to carry on with that, help taker.
Yeah, absolutely. So in our game, it's not as simple as that. We're designing character interactions based on a unique character taste system. It's like every character has basically their own ranges of tastes and wants and needs. That means they definitely have a dislike and like ratio, but it's not as uniquely uniform as like just being an asshole or not being an asshole to someone. Because maybe some characters like when you're not that nice to them. Like it's just like a specific type of interaction that others like might enjoy or not. So we're kind of like trying to be a little bit more open-minded for that. Outside of that, we've been really inspired with the last Guardian of the Galaxy game, and we're trying to see if we can find a way to kind of include a very similar ending where based on how you interact and with whom you interact, the ending will basically change. So that's our plan at the moment, and yeah, we're looking forward to enacting that.
You know, you had me at asshole. And speaking of assholes, I don't know if you know, but I have a gremlin alter ego. Her name is Melody. Is there any chance she'll make an appearance in the game?
I think Easter eggs will certainly like players to find. So you have to find out, but I think that there's a good chance if you look hard enough.
Were any of my visions on the edge of being too much, or did you decide to exclude anything that I had brought up before, or is this game like full uninhibited, just my fantasies? What have you left out? Be honest. It was the giant stapler, wasn't it? It's fine.
We can talk about the giant stapler.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize. I can't apologize any more than I already have. Please continue.
Yeah, so far, actually, we haven't had that problem yet, but we are early in production, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a few answers for this question by the end of it. But yeah, mostly, we're just striving to make this game that anyone can play and enjoy it. So, but at the same time, we do have to keep in mind like Steam's guidelines and, just make sure that the player's agency is always there. So 1 or 2 scenes have been altered, but not taken out. But once again, we have lots of time to see what exactly we're going to need to cut out from Melody's fantasies.
Yeah, I think mostly it's quite okay at the moment. I mean, Steam's quite good really with what we're allowed and what we're not allowed. So I think it's all quite wholesome and on brand that we've got. So it's not too dark. So we're quite okay with that.
A lot of ass.
Yes.
but I know Steam is very particular. They take games off for the littlest of things, so I'm glad that we're sticking in the guidelines. I would be crushed if we couldn't be there, and I understand if we have to sacrifice some fetishes for others. But I think it's pretty comprehensive. I think we got everything that I could imagine.
Certainly like a broad range of fetishes that we'll get in there.
Will there be anime like OP?
It would be nice to have an opening title, but it's too early to say at this point. But I'd love the idea though. Will
there be customization for the character in the game?
I think at a later stage there will be. So obviously at first we start with like a male character model, and then if and as the budget increases, we certainly want to have different body types so that everyone can sort of like feel like that's their character. So that has a range of like different genitals we'd like, from having both or one of each. So like, you can play as a male or a female or something else. So we would like to do that. And it certainly is something that we're thinking about for a later stage. So that is something that we would like, as well as kind of making it feel like everyone can pick what they want in that regard. Yeah, and then also we also want to have like different outfits for the different characters in the game as well and stuff like that. So there certainly will be at a later stage. We'd like that. So hopefully.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Because, I mean, for as much as I want a penis, I don't want it every day. You know what I mean? And it's good to have that diversity, that flexibility. Okay. I like that. I like the flexibility, catering to guys, gals, and my non-binary pals. So then besides customization of characters, will any scenes be locked behind certain types of characters?
There are certain characters in the game that are very different. So, for example, a slime girl, she's got a very different body to a regular person. So there'll be a lot more things that she can do that others won't, as well as we have some very tall characters that are about 8-9 feet. They're very big, so they can pick you up and treat you differently. So so there will be very unique experiences to different girls for sure. And I think that'll be a good thing, because we can, as you play different chapters, you'll get to experience something new as opposed to this is all the same. So I think, yeah, it is, but in a way, but that's because the characters are so different. But I think it'll be a good thing because you get to experience new things.
Man, 8 or 9 feet, those women could wear me as a hat. That sounds very intriguing. Speaking of wearing me like a hat, how lewd will the scenes play out?
Very lewd.
Please go on. Please do tell of the lewd scenes, please.
I was going over it earlier already about the natural progression of the sex gameplay. In general, the idea is, like I said, that through dialogue or action, you enter into, let's just say, like either foreplay or direct impact. Yeah? So it really depends on basically the unique moment that you're basically in that game. That can basically mean that you're entering like you have a dialogue inside of a after some action scene or something like that, and both characters are like super like high spirited, and they are like, oh man, like this was fun, and they want to basically go into it like exchange fluids with each other, and just like it can basically be like immediately into basically sex, and then basically you have like specific loops playing. The lust meter is one of those factors there, where you just like basically increase the lust meter over time with specific interactions that you can basically do uniquely for each one of those like loops that are playing. In general, like it has a lot of like progression systems in there that mean where you have to kind of like find out what the girl actually likes. So it's not about just like, okay, I'm basically scrolling and increasing the speed of the animation, but it's also kind of like figuring out, hey, does she like if I squeeze her tits, for example, or does she like if I put my fingers in her mouth and stuff like that, or if I just like kind of pat her head while I'm banging her from behind and stuff like this. So it's supposed to be a wide range of interactions, and some of them the partner there will basically like, and some of them they most likely won't like. And that's kind of like the whole like that's the role play idea behind the sex gameplay, where it's kind of like, hey, you're playing out that scene the way that you wanted to, compared to like how we would want you to play it out. So I don't know, like I can go more complex with that, but it's in general like expect something that has a lot of depth compared to most other titles out there when it comes to sex.
It makes me think of the channel on Twitter that can you pet the dog in video games, but it's like, can you pet the Mel?
Yeah. You will most definitely be able to pet the Mel, 100%,
yeah. Well, speaking of petting, I'm curious, what type of game is this? Like what actual genre? What am I looking at here?
This is going to be a full 3D hentai action RPG with a focus on adventuring in semi-2 open worlds, and a lot of love and detail for interacting with characters and figuring out like who the opposite side basically is, what they're interested in, and then basically like finding a way to basically enjoy your time with them.
That's very, very, very cool. You said semi-open. What is the difference between open world and semi-open?
Well, an open world is designed to be able to like first of all, it's large, and one of the downsides, obviously, of being an indie development team is we don't have like 300 developers working for us. Yeah, we have basically like around 10. So we have to kind of like focus on making a really nice experience, and the best thing we can basically offer is semi-open world. That means like you have the ability to explore and choose different routes to basically achieve a goal or to move towards a goal. So it's not a linear, basically go through level X and then basically you land at the end. But obviously, if you look at it a little bit closer, you see that it's basically a bunch of like paths that all lead to the same basically area in the end. And you have had some ability to explore, but you haven't been basically able to just like go basically to one city or the other freely whenever you wanted to. Yeah. So, yeah.
Have I been allowed to help with any of like my own input regarding lines, or have I been shoved under the bed and have I been shoved in a box and unable to have any sort of feedback, or do I write my own lines? What is my level of feedback that has been involved in this game?
We do occasionally ask you for like inputs and just to make sure that we keep up to the brand and not accidentally write something that isn't Melody-like. So obviously we're going to have some lines that Melody's either going to write or help us write, depending on what exactly it is and how much of feedback do we need at the time.
Yeah, I can just like underline this, like from the game design perspective, it has been pretty similar, where we present ideas to Melody, tell her basically how we want to approach a specific topic, and we're getting feedback, and then basically together we work on finding the best way to kind of like make this a fun experience for everyone.
What inspired us, I suppose, to change both me and Melwar's design for this project? Was I not good enough for you?
Well, that's not the case. Of course, you're perfect. Aside that, when I came to the project, there was another artist already working on the models, and seemed like the style wasn't working for the vision that the studio had. So I tried using my style on another character that we currently have, and it was accepted. We went through a lot of iterations on the design, mixing different styles too. We hadn't a final blueprint sheet, so I did a mix between the ones we had. After that, Mel model was finished. Melware was based on Mel, so but I also wanted to give her more autonomy with a unique vibe aside of Mel's personality. We had a cute base design with a soft maiden-like fabric, but after a talk with Mel, we ended up developing this new clothing style and some extra things I did on the hair, making her look more badass.
I'm pretty mad. I think she might be my favorite character. You would think it'd be me, but she's just so dark and mysterious. I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need those clothes, not for me.
Me too. Wait, what?
I need those clothes for me.
Asking for a friend that is me. Like the level of tech wear, and it's future tech, and it's this sort of dark side of myself that I wish I could express more like in real life, and I'm lucky that I can be involved in a game where we can look at these different aspects of my personality just really literally played out.
Yeah, and there is already drawings about that.
That's true. We have our first fan art.
Yeah.
So, speaking of my dark side, there's a lot of aspects to my personality, and a big part of me is music. So I'm curious, like, what kind of soundtrack do you foresee for the game? And also, like, will the soundtracks be whitelisted?
Okay, so I'm gonna take this question and I'm gonna handle the whitelist licensing part to Helltaker. So the soundtrack for the Melody game will mostly be a slight mix between electro-funk, future funk, and a more time-based OST specific to the game environment. We basically plan on having a uniform soundtrack that fits the whole nut between world environment, and story to enhance some of the gameplay mechanics and narration overall. When it comes to electro-funk and future funk, you can maybe refer to some of my music as Pure Gem as an example. but we plan on really merging that electrofunk and future funk universe with something really immersive and basically to fit in the whole environment. So yeah.
So about whitelisting, we as Big Bang Studios are making sure that our artists are healthy, and that part of being healthy means that we don't take over copyrights on like specifically music for something, for example, because like it just wouldn't be fair. So what we're basically doing is we're licensing. For example, Pure here, or for example, we're going to work with a hentai dude, and we are hoping to find other collaborators too. And if you're interested in using them in the streams, you basically have to hit them up yourself. But I mean, at least from our experiences, they're all really nice guys. So usually, you can find nice solutions with them.
Let's take this occasion to just say that there might be something in the making with Untitled. Maybe, we don't know. We never know. Okay.
But you know.
Yeah, I do.
Can I know?
Not yet. We're just gonna keep it for everyone to know.
Fine. Will there be playable segments where you can like control other characters? For example, like in Final Fantasy.
Having entirely playable segments through other characters wasn't planned for the original story, but it might be possible if we have a considerable increase in our budget available. It should technically be possible, though, to allow players to switch places in the game with other characters in the sex gameplay loop, since it's by design created as a modular system. So, maybe?
It would be cool to wear another character's skin. That sounds really bad. But that sounds super fun. How frequently will you guys release updates?
We have split development of the game into two sections, sandbox releases and game releases. The sandbox will allow us to release content on a monthly or even bi-weekly basis, which will include, for example, additional animation loops or even new character previews. The game releases will allow us to focus on the story and polish these specific experiences, and will clock in at around 3 monthly releases starting summer 2022.
So you're saying the time when everyone starts getting hot and sweaty is when you're going to have your first release?
Yes, exactly.
Appropriate. Is there going to be like a public demo for players to check out before actually supporting?
Yes, but obviously we have to focus first on making playable alpha for the backers that basically have been our founders on the Patreon. And when we basically have a nice playable experiences based on their input.
So tell me guys, when do you expect to have the first demo build like fully available? I think I mentioned a sandbox mode in the past.
We're aiming to make a pre-alpha phase available around mid-January, actually. That's like for the founder level backers. I expect that we should be able to release something where you can actually look into what we have been working on so far around mid-February to start of March.
Okay, let's pretend I'm a crazy person and I have an Apple product. Will I be able to play this game on it, or is it just PC?
Well, at the moment, we are focusing on the PC only release, mainly because it would just it wouldn't be feasible for a team our size to currently focus on supporting multiple platforms. But in the future, depending on how it goes, we could definitely look into releasing on different platforms too.
Will the game be released on Steam or on some sort of special site? Can I get it anywhere?
Yeah, so I think it will definitely come to Steam. That is the goal ultimately. Obviously, there'll be builds on Patreon, but whilst we're designing the game, and then later, once we've finished everything, then it will be shipped to Steam.
Let's say I joined Patreon early, like I'm an early investor of this game, before any playable sandbox or polls are available. Is there any additional bonus I can get for being an early supporter?
Yeah. Okay. So for our foundation tiers and some of our higher tiers, we're going to have a pre-alpha test access, so that you can play that early when it's available.
Will you let the press or just other streamers access and review copies of the game?
I think absolutely yes. There'll be a point when it's a lot more polished and a lot later on when we want to share that with everyone, and we'll certainly allow that when it's the right time.
PS4, go.
Actually, I don't know. Like, we still have to do the research on which basically other platforms we could actually release a game like this on. But there is like at least like we think we might not be able to release on either Nintendo or Sony platforms because they pretty surely have policies against porn games on their platform specifically.
Will there be a DLC with the final version of the game?
I certainly hope so. So once everything's finished, we would like to work on additional pieces. Maybe there'll be shorter experiences or extra chapters, or it could be new fetishes or, as I say, new experiences that we certainly want to include after the game. So I would like to give it a longer life after we finish the main game. So yes to that.
I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things to encounter when playing a game is microtransactions. Will they be in the game, or will most things be earnable? So, alternative outfits, playable characters, weapon skills. How will I obtain these things?
It'll be from playing the game, so we won't have microtransactions in the game. You'll buy it and you'll unlock outfits and everything like that. So it's more of a traditional based game in that sense.
Are there any plans in the future to show a complete roadmap of the development phase for the game?
Yes, but it's pretty similar to writing documentation in development. So early on, when you're starting development of a game, you want to write a lot of documentation because obviously ideas get lost and so on and so forth. But at some point, the focus will shift basically to just doing the fucking task and making sure that you actually get some shit done and you don't just write documents all the time. Yeah. Same basically goes with roadmaps or public appearances or anything that is basically writing an article for people to see what your progress is. When in fact it might be just way easier to spend that time on actually developing the game and getting something out there earlier. So we're going to try and mix it up basically in making or building basically expectations up and telling people, okay, that's going to be the shorthand roadmap that we basically have right now. For example, like the sandbox release we have planned at the moment. But for a long-term roadmap, with this type of development style that we're currently having here, where we basically develop from one month to the other, it's going to be pretty much nearly impossible to make a complete roadmap at any point in time. Yeah, so that's kind of the answer.
Will other VShojo characters make appearances as NPCs or in boss fights? I guess one thing that I've told people a bunch, especially more in the beginning, people were very much curious, like, oh, when is this streamer going to be on a porn site? When's this one? And a lot of people were getting harassed because I did porn and no one else. There was this expectation that was the transition. First VTubers their expectation is to be really good singers, but next it was like, okay, Melody's doing this. Is that where the trend is going now? I think that if any of my friends or teammates or fellow VTubers wanted to be involved with porn, they would have joined in with it a long time ago. And I just want to make sure that no one is pressured into doing something they're not comfortable with. This isn't affiliated with VShojo at all. It's affiliated with me and all of you. And I think it's important to maintain healthy boundaries and not have certain expectations, because I have people close with me that they all are going to be involved with a very big project. That's not necessarily a thing, especially when it comes to porn. This is a special big leap compared to common streaming. This is not only a game, but this is much more intimate, and a lot of people aren't comfortable with that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's a difference between fun little cameos, where we could definitely talk to others, and having them, like as playable characters or NPCs, because I think that just like is a different level of involvement.
Exactly. Like I can even see like one of our mascots, like a painting of them in the maid cafe, like small referential humor. But that again, it's up to the individual. Even if it's someone I'm close with, a porn game. It's just a whole different world, and not everyone is comfortable, but some may be. It's definitely a conversation worth having.
Absolutely.
I'm very comfortable.
You're holding panties in your mouth. I think you're comfortable.
That's the only thing. It's one of those as well. Like, does that affect them as a company as well, or as a person? Like with, like some studios don't like when you're working with those sorts of things or not. So it's also like about thinking about those things as well, I suppose.
That's absolutely true. Over time, I stopped posting art that showed the inside of people's buttholes because I realized over time I was getting less opportunities for sponsors, which I'm very interested in. It was always my choice. Like, I can post whatever the fuck I want, but I was being less horribly graphic because not only was it taking away opportunities, but I was wondering how it would affect my teammates. Like, people that are interested in our group, they look at everybody.
Yeah, like kind of cut the wings from the people that are around. They could fly a little like what I did. Yeah, I can do this. Oh no, sorry, we can't because of this happening.
Exactly. And bigger company sponsors are very prude. They're afraid of anything sexual. So it's very important that we maintain the gap that this game is not associated with them, even if possibly some of the members are referenced in it. Like, that as far as the connection goes, because this is ours. We're the pornographers here. Will the game be able to support both VR and non-VR?
So at first we really want to make it a non-VR experience first, and then later on, particularly in the sex scenes, we want to add VR support. But like, as I say, primarily it's a game that anyone can play, so it doesn't matter whether you've got a bit of a potato or a high-end PC. It's you don't have to have VR to play this game, but as someone who is specialized in VR, certainly we want to add that experience in to feel even closer to those characters. So at least for the sex scenes, that's the plan later on. But first we'll make the game non-VR first and give the support later.
So, to get a little dark about this, will Lovin's toys or any sort of Bluetooth-controlled adult devices for your private parts, will there be support for that? Will I really get to integrate myself with this game?
Yes, we're planning to support toy integration. We got actually pretty lucky with that because our main programmer currently has experience with integrating Lewd Scenes into Unreal Engine. And yeah, we're looking forward to bringing that experience to your private parts.
Well, we had a lot of questions, but I think there's one more that I think we should totally address, and that's, if you want to support the game, but you're having money problems, what can you do?
I think, just sharing it with your friends who are very lewd-minded, and just sharing it around helps as well. So if you have a friend who you think would like it, then yeah, definitely sharing it. That helps us grow. And if you don't have any money, that certainly helps.
I really appreciate you answering those questions. Like, the community, it's been amazing. They've come out and reached out to us in so many different ways, and it's been overwhelming, the support that we've gotten. And I'm so happy that we were able to take some time today and really answer some of the questions that most came up, because people have questions, and it's just really exciting.
Yeah, indeed. It's really cool also being, close to the community and try and do our best to answer their thoughts and everything. I know, it's really cool. And thank you for having us, Melody, as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
No, thank you all for being here and taking time today. I really appreciate it. I hope we were able to answer a good amount of the questions that the community had for us, but I had a lot of fun. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for being here.
Goodbye.
Sayonara.
Jamatane. See you soon, guys, for our next update.
She can kill that shit, don't you cheat on the beat. I got your shawty on my dick while we're riding around Tokyo. We trying to hit a lick. Team my motor, my gang is what we're repping while we dip. Yeah, I'm trying to stack that yen. And I girls, I'm trying to get in. Do these shawty hop in my bins. I don't care, just bring your